Coming up on UCF Nightly News. Recent attacks in Paris have reminded Westerners that terrorism is a very real issue around the world. In today's special edition, we'll tell you how violence abroad has affected people here at home.
Also, we talked to a former extremist who's found a way to turn his life around. We'll tell you what he's doing to share his story.
And college campuses across the country have been experiencing racial and religious tensions lately. We'll show you what it's like for some students here at UCF.
Nightly News, the special edition, starts now.
Good afternoon and welcome to the special edition of Nightly News. I'm Matthew Johnson.
And I'm NOSLEN VALDES. Today is Friday, November 20th, 2015.
Today we're doing something a little different with our newscast. Recently there's been a lot of tension around the world because of differences in cultures and race. We've seen some hostility here at UCF.
In this special edition of Nightly News, we'll see how some students are dealing with racial and religious conflicts in their everyday life.
But first, we have Brett West on the desk to bring us the important news updates for the week.
Thank you very much, Matthew and NOSLEN. A big decision was made this week that will impact students and business owners on campus. UCF Board of Trustees approved the expansion of the student union. The expansion will give student union more space and extend the deal with Aramark Food Services. This means some independent businesses will not have the opportunity to renew their leases when they come due. They will be replaced with Aramark restaurants, but the board agreed to keep 2 available spots open to sublet to independent businesses after the change. On December 6th, the parents of Stephen Stotloff were giving out the first 2 scholarships from their 2 Lives Foundation at the University of Miami to someone attending the Dolphins game. Shirley and Arthur Sotloff made an announcement Monday night when they spoke to UCF journalism students about their foundation and their son Stephen. He was a freelance journalist covering war zones in Libya and Syria. He lost his life to the hands of militants in the Islamic State in 2014. This event really hit home to journalism students who are just getting into the major.
It definitely opened my eyes to how dangerous that journalism can be and how much courage it takes, especially to be a freelance journalism.
The parents ended the night by telling students what they did as journalists is important and to be courageous in every story they cover. Racial tensions on college campuses have led to a nationwide discussion on race and academics. One UCF group took part in the discussion with a peaceful demonstration. The UCF organization Black Student Union and other supporters gathered this week and used to sit and protest racial insensitivity on college campuses. The protests were inspired by the original sit-in at the University of Missouri, and former University of Missouri student Dwan Baker says he was happy people are seeking change.
Just to see that somewhere that I came from is having an impact 1,000 miles away, it's kind of inspiring for me. So I'm definitely happy that people can sense that things are going on.
Protesters spread the word through social media and encouraged supporters to wear all black. UCF police are currently investigating who put up swastika stickers near Tower 4. Last weekend, someone put up anti-Semitic stickers in 4 different locations around UCF. The blue marker shows where stickers were put up around campus, and the red marker shows where flyers were handed out. Since the weekend ended, the pictures have been taken down, and campus police still have not identified the person who put up the stickers. We've let you know about some things that have happened locally, but now here's an update from France. On Thursday, French police announced that they have killed Abdelhamid Aboud in a raid on Wednesday. Aboud is known as the leader of ISIS group who attacked Paris on the weekend. The raid took place in an apartment complex in Saint-Denis, where officials believe Aboud was living. During the raid, French police saw a woman blow herself up with a suicide belt, and 8 others were arrested. And later in the show, we'll have a more in-depth look at terrorism around the world and how it's affecting those here at home. Now we have Dominique DELCORSO here to tell us the weather forecast. Dominique, what can we expect for this week?
The week is looking good. The weekend, not so much, but I'll get to that in a minute. First, let's take a look at the weather for today. So it's a high of 81 and a low of 69, and humidity is at 87%. Also, it's pretty cloudy out right now and overcast, and it'll continue to be that way until the evening time, and then it'll be about a 20% chance of rain. Now, let's look into our 5-day forecast. We have our 5-day forecast up. Oops. On Saturday, it's a high of 81 and a low of 68, and it's a 60% chance of rain. It's also a 70% chance of rain on Sunday with a low of 54 and a high of 74. The good news is on Monday, it will bring the cooler weather from the rain. So we have a pretty clear skies and lower temperatures for the rest of the week. That's all the time we have for now. Back to you, Brett.
Thanks, Dominique. It's been a busy week in sports, and the athletics department has made a big announcement with a new employee. We have GERZINA here to tell us more about this.
Thank you, Brett. Danny White is now the Director of Athletics at UCF. At a press conference yesterday, UCF Athletics introduced him to the athletic staff and the media. White spoke about his credentials and his innovative ideas that he will be bringing to UCF Athletics. He also made a point that he will be looking for a new football head coach immediately.
The football coach search has already started. I know that's a critical leadership role for us moving forward. I'll be flying from here tomorrow morning to Atlanta to visit with the search consultants to continue the vetting of candidates, but there's work being done on it as I sit here.
Many will be thankful for White's determination to find a new head coach after last night's performance. The Knights lost 44-7 to East Carolina University. And this image of fans with bags over their heads pretty much sums it up. But it wasn't all bad. In the first quarter, the Knights started off strong. In their first drive, they made a touchdown, but after that, they weren't able to make any progress on the field on offense or defense. And now back to you, Brett.
After the break, things are going to take a bit of a turn. Matt and NOSLEN will be back to tell you about how some UCF students are reacting to recent events involving discrimination and how hate around the world and nearby.
Welcome back to the special edition of Nightly News. Right now we're going to talk about some issues that have made an impact on our campus and the world.
Racial and religious hostility is a reality that a number of UCF students have to deal with on a daily basis. The attacks in Europe and in the Middle East have caused many countries to go to war.
And college students across the country are divided by the color of their skin and the faith they believe in. We'll be talking about all of these matters. But first, let's talk about one of the reasons for all of this hostility.
The Institute for Economics and Peace reports more than 140,000 people have been killed in terrorist attacks since the year 2000. One of the most known terrorist groups is ISIS, or the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. ISIS was born out of Al-Qaeda, the group who is known for the 9/11 attack. People noticed them there in the U.S. in the year 2014, when they released videos beheading Westerners like former UCF student Steven Sotloff. The CIA estimates they have about 30,000 fighters, and recently ISIS claimed responsibility for the attacks in Paris, Lebanon, and Nigeria.
Right now, there are 46 UCF students studying abroad in Europe, and 2 of them are in France, just outside of Paris. UCF officials confirm they are safe, but there are also students here at UCF who were affected by Saturday's attacks. Brooke Savage sat down with one who's a French citizen and has a good friend living in Paris.
On Facebook, so I was able to see if my friends living in Paris were safe.
Thibaut Atta will be getting his master's this semester, but he plans to stay in the United States. Even though he grew up 3 hours away from Paris, he says Saturday's attacks really hit home.
And I was also very sad for my country because I know that France is going to change a lot.
For students here at UCF, they had mixed feelings about the attacks.
I felt like it was going to be inevitable. But I wasn't exactly worried for the home front necessarily, right now at least.
I think people should be scared. I think people should be scared every day. Anything could happen at any given time.
I feel like we should do more to protect our country, to fight ISIS.
As for Atta, he's glad his friend is safe and also his family. He brought them to UCF on Wednesday so they could see an American campus. In Orlando, Brooke Savage, UCF Nightly News.
Atta also said he appreciates the international support for Paris, but he thinks the issues going on with terrorism are long-term and need to be focused on for more than just a week. These attacks in Paris were a reminder that religious conflicts are still an issue many groups are dealing with. These conflicts are the cause of some of the hate crimes around the world. In a report that just came out on Monday, the FBI said that there are fewer hate crimes in the U.S. than last year, except in one area, hate crimes against Muslims. Keep in mind, anti-Muslim hate crimes make up only about 2% of the ones reported, but they were the only type of hate crime that increased.
That same report also found that the third most common place for hate crimes are college campuses. But one UCF student says that's not the case here. Reporter Dominique DELCORSO spoke to a student about how she feels walking around campus as a Muslim.
First of all, UCF is an amazing campus, and they show just how amazing they are, and the people here, the staff here.
Maha Qureshi is a 22-year-old senior at UCF, and she is a Muslim. Maha says UCF counselors reached out to the members of the Muslim Student Association immediately after the attacks in Paris.
They're like, contact us, we can help you, we can give you counseling, we have therapists available 24/7.
As for what people believe about her faith, Maha feels that extremist groups like ISIS have taken her religion from her.
What ISIS is, it's definitely not Islam. They're people without a religion. They basically hijacked a religion and they just put their name on it.
Maha feels thankful for her experience at UCF because she knows what it's like to feel hate. After September 11th, she saw prejudice firsthand.
September 11th happened. My mom wore the scarf and she still wears the hijab. Some lady tried to pull it off her head in a supermarket like Publix, saying, "You don't belong here, go back to where you came from," and stuff like that. And it just, it kind of gives you an idea of what things that you see on TV and, sorry.
Those words from her past will stay with Maha forever, but she is thankful her life in the present doesn't include them. In Orlando, Dominique DELCORSO, UCF Nightly News.
Maha may not experience hate crimes on campus, but if you witness something or need to report a hate crime, the Justice Knights response team is ready to help. For more information, you can visit our website at nightlynews.ucf.edu. The FBI defines terrorism as acts that are dangerous to the human life and violate federal or state law and affect the conduct of the government by mass destruction. We were reminded of what exactly that looks like on November 13th during a string of attacks on Paris that killed at least 128 people. The extremist group ISIS says that they took responsibility for the attacks. A study by the Pew Research Center found that Americans, Europeans, and the people from the Middle East see ISIS as the biggest international threat.
And Hassim Kafiz was almost one of those threats. When he was 20, he was about to join a terrorist group when he decided to read a book called The Case for Israel. The book started his 2-year-long journey to realizing that he was on a path of irrational hatred. We sat down with him to talk about the mindset of a would-be terrorist. To normal people, terrorism is unimaginable, an act of hatred.
Why would somebody want to murder 140 random people in Paris?
Hassim Kafiz says most people desperately try to rationalize why it's happening. But, he says, that's impossible because terrorism is irrational.
So people are looking for some sort of rationale, but when you step back, sometimes you have to go, this is ideological. There is no rationale to it. There is nothing that you've done wrong other than exist.
Kafiz says hate that breeds anti-Semitism or racism colors your whole world, making it hard to get away from. And, he says, there's no one cure for it.
There sadly is no silver bullet to dealing with extremism or radicalism, and the best way to tackle it is to deal with it before it kind of gets out there.
Kafiz says another way to combat extremism is just to be proud of who you are and not be scared of that illogical hatred.
We have more to talk about after the break. Religious and racial conflicts aren't just abroad. Recently, both issues are making an appearance here at home.
And we talked to a student who says the anti-Semitic stickers found on campus weren't the first signs of hate he's witnessed as a Jewish believer.
And one woman tells us how it would feel like to be a black woman in a time where racial tensions are high across the country.
We're back with a special edition of UCF Nightly News.
Some of the hostility we've been seeing in other parts of the world is taking a hold right here in the U.S. and even at UCF. Hostility comes in many forms. One of those is hate crimes, which the FBI defines as crime motivated by bias against certain races, religions, ethnicities, disabilities, or sexual orientations. There were 32 reported hate crimes in Orange County in the year 2013. But since the year 2012, 3 hate crimes have been reported right here on campus at the rate of 1 per year.
To many, the propaganda distributed over the weekend seems like a rare incident, but one student says it's been following him his whole life.
Circumstantial, it does not fluctuate, it's just constant, always at a high, no matter what is happening in the world.
In fact, Schuster says anti-Semitism has followed him and the ones he loves his whole life.
And to fly the Israeli flag that, has a Jewish star on it, both those symbols, both the Jewish star and the Israeli flag, are just sources of hate and violence.
But Schuster says that at UCF, aside from recent incidents, he's felt safe, and that's something rare.
I just want to thank all of UCF for respecting us, because just to treat us as equals, just to not harass us for flying our flag, it means a lot, and it's not something we're accustomed to. So that does give me hope that, things are better on UCF.
According to the FBI, nationally only about 10% of all hate crimes target Jewish people, but 33% target black people. Tensions at the University of Missouri are still high, following one man's threat to shoot and kill all African Americans on campus. Last Wednesday, police arrested the suspect for threats he posted on social media. The threats came only 2 days after the university's president and chancellor resigned. Their resignations came the day after the school's football team threatened to go on strike until they left office. The University of Missouri has a long history of racial incidents over the years.
Earlier, we talked about a young Muslim woman and a Jewish man who said despite the discrimination that they face, they still feel safe here at UCF. But Audrey Harvey talked to one student who says because of things like the incident in Missouri, safety is always a concern.
It makes me angry. It makes me really angry and scared, and I shouldn't have to feel scared.
Scared. One word Alexis Alexandre, a senior at UCF, uses to describe her feelings on racial tensions in America. Growing up, Alexandre says her parents warned her about discrimination based on the color of her skin.
My dad would always tell me, you have to work twice, 3 times as hard. Growing up, he would be like, you don't see it now, you don't see it now, but people are gonna look at you differently.
An aspiring doctor, Alexandre knows she may face hurdles because of her skin color.
It kind of sucks to live in a day and age where you know that racism still exists.
She also says the Black community's voice isn't heard as much as it could be, but says Black students on campus do have the power to make a difference.
We're gonna try to make our voice heard how we can, and if it's a sit-in, then it's a sit-in. If it's a silent march, then that's what it's going to be. It has a purpose.
A purpose she hopes can be achieved. In Orlando, Audrey Harvey, UCF Nightly News.
Alexis Alexandre will graduate next fall with a degree in health sciences and is deciding on potential grad schools to attend so she can pursue her dream of becoming a doctor.
The Office of Diversity and Inclusion team here at UCF says their motto is simple. They say diversity includes all of us, all the time. UCF statistics show 53% of students who enrolled this fall semester are white, 22% are Hispanic, 11% are African American, 6% are Asian, and the remaining 8% are either multiracial or not specified.
Well, that's how UCF breaks down the diversity of races, but UCF is also a community of different cultures. With everything that's going on in the world right now, we wanted to take some time and reflect on who we are here at UCF. At the International Fair, I spoke to some students from all around the world about cultural stereotypes. Here's what they had to say about people who may be curious about their traditions.
Thing is because people don't understand where the Hispanics come from, nor what their traditions and none of that. So if they would just give them a chance, get to know them.
Muslim, Hindu, Buddha, Christians, we're happy with each other. We are very hospitable. So just come, talk with us. I know you will understand how we are.
We just want to promote anything that is Italian, also while embracing the other cultures. It's kind of just coming together as a community.
Don't let stereotypes really influence your perception of a race, a country, because it's really going to influence how you react with these different type of people.
Just remember about humanity and forget about, nationality. It comes down to the fact that we're all humans and we all live on this earth and we all have the right to live peacefully.
Over the last 20 minutes, we've not only shared stories about people here at UCF, but people from all around the globe. We hope it's been an eye-opener for everyone watching.
Thank you for taking the time to look deeper at the harsh realities some of UCF students are facing because of the religious and cultural strife in the world today.
After the break, we'll be going back to the desk to hear a recap of how the Knights fared this week in sports and what we can look forward to for next week's show.
Now we have Brett, Dominique, and Lindsay at the desk to give us an update on what to look forward to for the Thanksgiving weekend.
Thanks, Noslin and Matthew. Looking ahead to next week, things will be a little different because of the Thanksgiving holiday. We won't be on air on Friday, but we will have a short newscast on our website on Wednesday, the 26th. Our Thanksgiving edition will feature the story of a young man who's thankful for UCF and helping him escape homelessness. Be sure to check out Angel's story more on Wednesday. And now for a sports recap. Lindsay, how did we do this week?
Thanks, Brett. Women's basketball won its home opener against FIU 89-72. They have another game tonight at 7 p.m. against Florida A&M. Wednesday, the men had their basketball game in their home opener. They unfortunately lost 61-60 in overtime, but they do also have a game Saturday night at 7 against UNC Greensboro. And tonight, women's volleyball is at home playing Memphis. The game starts at 7, so be sure to go out there and cheer on your Knights.
The Knights didn't look too good this week, but Dominique, what can we expect for the weather for this weekend?
Well, the weekend will be very rainy, but the good news is the rainy weather from the weekend will definitely bring in some cold weather on Monday, so it should be exciting.
That's all we have time for now. Thank you for joining us in the special edition of Nightly News. Remember, you can always keep up with us during the week at our website at nightlynews.ucf.edu. If you've got a story idea you want us to tell about, send it our way. You can reach us at nightlynews.ucf.edu. Thanks for watching and have a good day.
Hi, everybody. Before we start our show tonight, we'd like to acknowledge and remember those that have been influenced and impacted by the attacks of Paris, Beirut, and Baghdad this last week. There are people in this world that are intent